Good morning, folks. Top story today comes from UC Santa Cruz. I won't spoil the full article, which you are encouraged to read, but I'll give some perspective on the cosmic web which the quasar is said to have illuminated. Much like a neural network or even city lights seen from space, the nodes have offshoots and thin out in different directions, coming back together again for brighter points. So how connected is everything out there in space? Well, that's a long story, but we highly suggest you start by Googling magnetic portals connect Earth and Sun, added 2008, and cite nasa.gov to just pull up their articles. Flux tubes, plasma and charged particle connections not only connect the Earth but all planets to the Sun. It's only a matter of time before NASA discovers the moon connections to the planets, planets to each other, and our star to other stars and the galaxy. They've already found that galaxies are connected in that cosmic web. Coming to weather. As predicted, Storm June indeed weakened before making landfall in New Zealand, but has arrived with her sister still stomping around northwestern Australia. Website members recall the storm-induced electroquake discussions from Fly on the Wall this past weekend as the top quake of this weekend hits from the southwest Pacific. It's come next to Europe. While you can easily see a power low off the west coast in the North Atlantic, there are secondary flows and storm lines within the larger and harder to discern low-pressure cell. It did elongate somewhat since yesterday, squeezed some of the effects. Significant extreme weather reports out of the UK, flooding reported in France, landslides in Italy could have been from rain or from all the earthquakes hitting this area over the last 24 hours as the storm goes by. Much more boring in the Western Hemisphere in terms of quakes. Always fun to find quarry blasts on the USGS site though, 2 man-made rumbles on the list yesterday. As often happens with the US, the original wind map does a better job showing the convergence. It's going to be rain in the south, but combination will cause snow to come down north of the initial convergence. Good to see the dip shifting north and bringing warmer temperatures back a bit. Notice the lows still stuck out in the northeast Pacific. Same story on the coastlines here for days and days. Solar wind is calming, but showing some signs of mixed streams and potential south-pointing plasma as a significant percentage of the receipt. We don't have major instability, but we'll watch with more baby jolts to the smooth curves on the sensitive metrics. Colored dots are those magnetic portals we saw earlier. Blue is Earth. They only give us Mercury through Mars. Now I need to correct a mistake. I had believed that the coronal hole was exiting Earth-facing position, but that was merely the most visibly recognizable. The positive field opening is far more significant, which I showed in yesterday's news, but didn't notice myself. Of course, as the primary quake factor, it appears to be more effective than the previous negative one. It is opening further here today. Solar flaring is still sitting on the sidelines, however the magnetic complexity ramped overnight in the sunspots. We have a baby group exiting the Earth-facing position that I wish I would get a chance to watch grow up. It's kind of disappointing to watch this teenager up north be a complete waste of umbral talent and mixing capability. Down south, incoming, a little bit more encouraging, but has been quiet so far. The blue positive interruption of the negative tail here is a good flaring sign. Limb groups look worthwhile of a gander when they spin in a bit more as well. 193 angstroms reveals my mistake in thinking the coronal hole was exiting. Very tough to see those trailing openings. Couple other shots of our star to close. Eyes open. No fear, it's 5:45 a.m. Eastern Time and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.